Morning date.
There are people who teach us. There are also people who help us grow. But then there are people who inspire us. That's what today's guest is all about. A teacher, a parent, an example to follow, and a messenger of life's most important values. She is Dr. Sunny Kim, a living bridge between the East and the West.
Welcome to another edition of Morning Date, where we meet with distinguished figures from all fields and walks of life.
And today we have no exception, right? We have Director of Voices from Oxford, the President of Tea Talks, and also the visiting professor at Seoul National University in Seoul, Dr. Sunny Kim. Good morning.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be back here. In my 30s, I used to be a BBC English presenter on EBS television. So it's a bit like coming back home.
So is coming here bringing back the happy memories that you
Of
had?
course, yes.
That's good to know.
Oh, you look happy. You look very flowery today.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I love the red flowers on your dress
This
today.
is my favorite color.
Oh, so you wore your favorite dress
Yes.
to today's morning date.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's our honor to have you as a guest.
All right. Well, before we start this much-awaited interview and conversation, we have a quiz for our listeners. A person who gives speeches that inspire or motivate can be called a motivational what? Is it number 1, clapper, number 2, blinker, or number 3, speaker? One more time. A person who gives speeches that inspire or motivate can be called a motivational. Number 1, clapper. 2, blinker.
Blink,
Eyes
blink,
blinking. And 3, speaker.
Okay, so during a speech, you probably most likely speak.
That's right.
Okay.
If you know the answer, use our bandi KakaoTalk Plus for free or text to pound 1045 for 50 or 101, depending on the length of your message for a chance to win a copy of Dr. Kim's book, 나는 어제보다 오늘이 좋다. We also have a pure coconut oil soap set too. Well, actually, not just one, but many. So send your answers in right now or send in questions and messages for Dr. Kim too.
Yes, and Dr. Kim, could you briefly introduce yourself for our listeners?
Okay, I'm wearing many hats actually. I'm a founder of Voices from Oxford and Tea Talks. And in Korea, I'm a visiting professor of Graduate School of Engineering Practice at Seoul National University. And one more hat, in China, I'm a visiting professor at Xi'an Liverpool University.
Wow,
as
those
well.
are amazing accomplishments. Amazing hats that you're wearing.
How do you handle all that at the same
know.
time?
Yeah, I'm a jet setter, so I commute between 3 countries. UK,
Wow, you travel a
Korea,
lot.
China.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, I moved to UK first in 1979 for my husband's postdoctorate research. And that time, of course, I struggled at the beginning. I learned a lot, but I never imagined that I would go back again. And then, believe it or not, I said that in my 30s, I used to be teaching here BBC English on EBS television. But in my 50s, I went back to Oxford.
Oh, during your 50s?
Yeah, to do master's and PhD in
So you
English language
started-
and literature.
You hire the master's and your doctoral dissertation in your 50s.
In my 50s,
That's an
but
amazing
better
story.
late than never, you see.
I know.
Yes, it is better late than never.
Wow.
And you're never old. You're always at your youngest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's a great inspiration for any of us. So, okay, then let's talk about Voices of Oxford. What is VOX? And what kind of goal did you have when you established it?
Well, when people think of Oxford University, they may think that, oh, it's too much for me. It's too far away from me.
That's true.
And so we are trying to bring Oxford University to the world more accessible. Especially there are many young people who want to have a good experience in a different world. Then we really want to bridge the gap. And so we have lots of interviews with distinguished scholars from all over the world and global leaders, global businessmen as well. And actually, through my job, I'm learning a lot myself.
Wow.
And I'd like to share it. You know, they're really prestigious people. But I don't think it's not fair just for Oxford University students and Oxford faculty members to enjoy all these treasures. We'd like to share all these treasures with the world.
I see. So you're sharing these distinguished lectures with people using technology, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, so we live in a digital age, so we have to benefit from it.
And I hear that you have a lot of renowned lecturers, including Professor Dennis Noble. And who were some of the most memorable lecturers that you had, and what were their messages?
Yeah, there are so many people, actually. Yeah, Professor Noble, for example, post-Brexit, he was really, really upset because of lots of cuts to university funding. And actually, it was the first time for me to see him crying.
He cried.
But a more important thing next is that next day, he carried on, he kept going. So his advice to young people, always keep going, okay? You'll get there.
Living by example.
Yeah, and another one, well, there are so many people, and the Sir Drummond Bourne, who is the Master of Balliol College at Oxford University and also Pro-Vice Chancellor, means Vice President of Oxford University. He's an expert on Byron. You know, Byron has lots of sex scandals, something. And in order to understand the poetry, we really have to understand his life as well. Through him, I mean, he's one of the greatest supporters as well for Voices from Oxford and Tea Talks. And I always got positive energy from him. He's a good listener. You know, good listener is a good leader. And just one more person, Edmund Phelps, professor, who is the Nobel Prize in economics. Actually, we did a film, his talk, and I really learned a lot, especially after the lecture. We had a session over dinner and so on. He said that everyone has the ability and capacity to do well. So we have to help them.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Just listening to your speech, I mean, what you're saying right now, I get this inspirational bug in me.
Oh, thank you.
And I think our listeners are also having a lot of fun. We have some messages sent in for Dr. Sunny Kim today. Park Jin-hwa님 from KakaoTalk says,
끊임없는 노력과 발전, 정말 입이 떡 벌어지게 하시네요. 멋지십니다. 특히 영국식 억양이 정말 멋지세요. 영국 가고 싶게 하십니다.
so how is my British accent? Which university is one of the most famous ones in the world? Is it too much?
Oh,
Mine.
yours?
Yeah. Oh, I just did it, but I guess it wasn't really British
I think
at
it was
all.
passable.
Okay, so, I mean, yeah, your British accent is amazing. A lot of people really want that British accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, Ihun and him also said, I started my master's in my 30s, and I thought it was already late, but you're wonderful. You're a great inspiration. And I guess it was really hard to have so many hats as a woman, but you've achieved a lot. And that itself is really challenging for me.
Yes. Life is challenging. And from that, you get lots of pleasure.
Yeah. And I can sense this great energy from you, right?
Oh,
Yeah, so
And this beam of joy. It's like
oh, thank you.
수광이 비치다.
Well, actually, I'm a dancer.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What kind of dancer are
I'm
you?
a gold medalist in 4 disciplines: waltz, tango, quickstep, and foxtrot.
why didn't you tell us about that hat? All right, we're having so much fun talking to Dr. Sunny Kim. We'll continue with our conversation with her after a song break. And don't forget, we're giving away copies of Dr. Kim's book, 나는 어제보다 오늘이 좋다. We also have pure coconut oil soap sets ready for you as well, so send your answers to the quiz. I'll give it out to you one more time. A person who gives speeches that inspire or motivate can be called a motivational, number 1, clapper, number 2, blinker, or number 3, speaker. Or you can also send questions and messages for Dr. Kim as well, so keep sending them in. Let's take a song break. Here is Celia Nergard with Dreamers at Heart.
You are listening to Morning Special on EBS FM, and we are back with our conversation with Dr. Sunny Kim, the director of Voices from Oxford.
Yes, and we have lots of more messages, so let's share them. Hwangwol Anim says, I thought you were British. You are amazing.
We have
Wonderful to hear that.
We have a message sent in by 장윤영님. 모닝 스페셜을 통해서 많은 분들을 만날 수 있어서 좋아요. 항상 조바심을 가지고 바쁘게 살아가는 저를 비롯한 현대인들에게 좋은 말씀 한 가지 해주시면 좋겠어요.
Yeah, word of advice, maybe?
For those who are so busy with their daily
Yeah,
lives.
in life, we have to face the situation. But life is not always good. But even if you have something really bad, you think, sometimes you can think you can turn things around. You know, don't worry. I just keep going, as Professor Noble said. Then you'll get there.
Okay.
Just keep going forward.
Yes.
And also, Ha Kyung-mi-nim says, these days, I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm studying a lot, and I'm listening to the radio right now, and I think I got to refocus on my studies.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Kim, you can see that you have already inspired 하경미님. She wants to study more and focus more on her studies.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that, but keep going even tomorrow.
Okay, well, keep going. All right, well, let's talk more about VOX, Voices from Oxford. Why is it at Oxford?
Oxford is a very special university. On the one hand, it still has its medieval colleges, which each have their own character. They are all interdisciplinary, see. So the sciences meet the humanities, law meets medicine, math meets poetry, chemistry meets history. The potential interactions are limitless. On the other hand, it has modern state-of-the-art buildings, libraries, laboratories, so it competes with the best universities in the world. So I hope you will enjoy watching videos in the VOX and TTOX website. Then you can experience all this.
Oh, speaking of TTOX, what is TTOX for those who might be unfamiliar with it? And how does it differ from other similar platforms?
TTOX is a new project related to, but separate from Voices from Oxford. You could say that they're like older and younger siblings. The aim of TTOX is to inspire and motivate young people to achieve beyond their dreams and to succeed as best as they possibly can in our ever-changing world. We hold regular events in which speakers talk on a topic of their choosing for around 10 minutes. Usually 4 or 5 speakers give talks, and then we finish with a Q&A session, panel discussion, which always carries on during a final drinks reception. All the TTOKs are recorded and then available on our website, ttoks.com.
TTOX.com.
Very simple to remember. And I think it's really high tech as well because you use VR technology too, right?
Yeah, that's right. In February, we got funding from COCA, and we had a collaboration with Yonhap News Agency and Fax Gear, Real Eyes, and it was really fascinating, and we really impressed all the distinguished professors. They opened their eyes big. So, and then they used a special camera to film in 360 degrees, which produces an amazing visual spectacle for the eyes to feast on.
I know.
Can you imagine just one camera? How much would it cost?
I don't know. It sounds expensive.
About $100,000.
Wow, for one camera.
Yeah,
That's
just
more than
one camera.
1억.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yes.
That is a lot of
So
money.
we had to be very, very careful, especially for my British colleagues. Please be careful. Okay, we can't afford to replace that.
I mean, you could say that speeches are one of the oldest public art forms of language. And yet at Oxford, you are having these amazing cameras to film it and produce it in VR technology, virtual reality technology.
Yes, we had 6 people, 6 virtual reality film crews at the time. In addition to that, we had over 10 film crews from VOX.
That's an
So
amazing achievement.
Quite crowded. So some professors actually said, reduce.
Okay.
Too much.
Well, we're having so much fun today talking to you, Dr. Kim, but we are running out of time. Before you go, though, you mentioned in your book, life is beautiful, that nothing goes as planned. That excerpt in itself tells us how happy of a person you are, how challenging a person you are. So tell us, what is happiness to you?
박사님에게 행복이란?
Yeah, we learn a lot from ups and downs in life. At the end of the deep and long tunnel, there is a green light, always a green light, waiting for us. Be positive and we'll get there. This is what I say to myself. Happiness is inside us, our attitude toward life. Positive thinking, even at difficult times, will help us to be happy.
Okay, so the green light at the end of the tunnel.
I think that was very inspirational. Thank you so much today for joining us, taking your precious time out to come all the way here.
It was great to be back and to
thank
be with
you.
you. Thank you very much for your for your invitation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kim.
Yeah, and we'd like to see you again.
Of course.
Please come back.
And I hope you will come to Oxford as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
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 Well, it's now time